New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Welcome to Girls Behaving Metaphysically. Your hosts are two girls who believe that life is awesome, that laughter heals, and that it's possible to find deep spiritual insights in everyday experience.
Here come the girls. It's more than practical. Here come the girls. Way more than merely factual. If you want to know the secrets of a life, it's free. Listen to Girls Behaving Metaphysically. Listen to Girls Behaving Metaphysically.
Hello, hello, hello.
How are you, Robin?
I'm good. I'm Robin Rice Olmsted.
Dr. Natasha Wilson, here all the way. Well, I'm in Australia. I was going to say all the way, but it's all relevant, right? Whatever. In Australia. Where are you, Robin?
Well, you're all the way from Australia, and I'm all the way from New Mexico.
That's true, right? It's all relative. And yet here we are, one global community of Homo sapiens, and we call ourselves Girls Behaving Metaphysically. Should I go? Ooh, sorry.
Okay, so sometimes we're a little woo-woo, and sometimes we're a little heady. We can be whatever we want to be, because that's what that means to us. Is be who you are. It's all metaphysical. It's all spiritual. It's all perfectly imperfect.
Oh my God, it so is. I had a client yesterday, and I swear, not a client, it's several clients. And each session came up about how we are all walking miracles, and we all exist to discover what it means to be what we are, right? Discover what it means to be a Natasha, whatever, right? What it means to be a Robin, what it means to be a this, like that. It's like each this unique, one-of-a-kind experience. So the message was, stop trying to fit in.
Well, I would even say, stop trying to fit in, and on some level, stop trying to figure it out. You know, we just are. We just are, and it's magnificent, the diversity, and amazing, you know, the way it shows up, not only for us, but for everybody.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I feel like that there is nothing to figure out about it. It's a process. And I think that's the thing. When people start moving into a sort of processual type of living, and not sort of like, I have somewhere to get to, right? This goal-oriented, not that we can't have goals, but like this sense of trying to have this absolute certainty, when we're a great mystery in so many ways.
We are.
Yeah. Wait till I show you my new tattoo, Robin.
Okay. Is that something you'll be unveiling on the show?
Maybe. I was just thinking about sharing it with you. And sometimes I forget we're on the show, and I think I'm just FaceTiming with you. Sometimes I need to like come back to reality before I start like pulling out body parts to show you things.
Right? I know, but you know, it was one thing when Michael gets a little, you know, iffy about the swearing, but the drinking took it to a whole new level last week. And if you're going to display a body part, I don't know, our ratings could go wildly up.
Let me tell you, Michael needs to come in and intervene, because I literally forget sometimes.
You know, standards and practices is going to write me a really nasty letter. But they already know, though, also in legal department, they already know that you guys are wild. All right. And you are capable of almost anything.
It's so true.
Like,
But you know, I have a message for standards and practices.
Yeah.
And I'll take it on myself. You tell them to take it out of my paycheck.
I will.
Any fine there is, out of my paycheck.
Okay. Oh, I will share the message.
Excellent.
and tell them put it right into mine.
There you go. There you go.
All right. Now, I did put in the chat. Is there drinking this week?
I am having an iced tea today.
Oh,
And
okay.
yeah, and I'm having water.
Oh,
I'm sorry to disappoint you.
yeah.
But look, even without that, I literally forgot just for a brief moment that we're on a podcast, that we're not FaceTiming. I was about to pull out a body part, like, because I was like, Robin, I got a new tattoo to show you. Anyways, whatever. We don't need drinking.
Big cleansing.
Okay. Again, I am up for ordination this summer. Let's keep the file with my name on it as short as possible so that Robin doesn't have to go in there and explain.
You know, but it can only be perfect, right? So I'm all about, if, you know, something new needs to emerge in leadership, why not us? You know? Our topic today is who knows. So
Who knows?
here you go. This is where we're going. This is where we're starting, and who knows?
We're already there.
That's right. That's right. So clearly you're weak. You've gotten a new tattoo.
Well,
Does it involve your children's names?
of course it does. It does. And it involves my whole sort of up till this point spiritual. Here, I'm just going to send you this right now so you can look at it. And it has the all the sort of because I'm an academic, right? And when I was commissioning it, I needed to like spell it all out. But it has all the sort of spiritual meaning wrapped up in this piece that has been commissioned. Here we go. Robin Rice Olmsted. Here we go. Robin.
I'm gonna have to turn around and send it to Michael so we can show it.
Okay, hang on. Let me send it first.
Okay.
For some reason, it had to prepare to send to you. I don't know why. Okay, here we go. There it is. Let me know when you get it.
All right. In the meantime, how was your week besides that?
Yeah, it's been a full week. I swear I get to this day, which is Friday for me, and I'm like, time is just not a real thing. Like, you know, it's like, how is it Friday? It's Friday.
Not only how is it Friday, but how is it almost June?
No, girl, I dated something last week, 1994.
I get it.
Okay.
I
I was like, where the hell did that come from?
That's funny. So your week has been busy. Is that what that means?
Yeah, it has been busy. It's been busy, but there's also been these moments where I had like these unexpected lulls. And so I use them to do things like go get my nails redone and commission my tattoo. And it's been a full week. I'll talk about it more. Tell me about your week though.
Pretty much the same. Time is just having its way with me. I mean, it's just crazy. It was a crazy week. It was the Girls Ordination Week, and so we had lots of people in town, and it was great. It was great. It was nonstop great, and and now I feel like I don't know how we'll ever get through all the things there are to do. You know what I mean? Like there's so many things that need to get done or that haven't happened, or whether it's around work or whether it's around just going through boxes in our garage and cleaning and this and that. It's like, it's so challenging to get to like the extra stuff that doesn't have to be done in the moment, but really should have been done months ago, Yeah. So it's that kind of a week. But I mean, all in all, it's been a great week, and very fun, very fun. I'm trying to think, like, other than my wedding, really, when the last time was, where people are really all there for you and all for you. And it was fun to watch that happen for Gil. And it was so important to him, like having the people involved, and they were here, and just watching that happen. And it was amazing. It was really good.
I'm so happy. That's just so like heartwarming to hear, and it just makes me so happy.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Nice. That is awesome.
I don't know why, but I'm not getting the email you sent.
I didn't send it an email. I sent it as a text message.
Oh, I didn't even look there.
I avoid email, girl. I get on email and I feel like I just like go into this, like disappear into an abyss. If I could get rid of email the way I've got rid of social media, I would.
Okay. All right. I got it. I can send it to Michael. Wow. All of this stuff is on your body?
Yeah, actually it's a sleeve. It's a sleeve tattoo. So it goes up like my whole arm all the way down to my inner wrist.
Okay. That's nice. That's intense. That's a lot. What? It's a lot. I mean, I'm not reading all the stuff on the side, but like just the symbols are amazing.
Yeah, and so it's just going to be the symbols, of course. I just had the explanations on the side.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's just going to be just the symbols.
Okay, well that's a lot. I have to focus on that to send to Michael. I'll do that during the break. But I think before we do that, let's do a card pull.
Sounds good. Let's do it.
Because let's see what the cards have to say for us today. I'm shuffling the Soulful Woman deck. Tell me when to stop.
All right. Stop.
Yeah, this one was jumping out of the deck. Infinite life. But I like the picture.
Does it say infinite self or infinite life?
Oh, infinite self. Okay, infinite self. What does that mean to you?
Oh, I was going to wait for you to read it.
I know you were, but this is what we call in radio and television. You then answer if I ask a question, because what I'm really doing is trying to buy time to get things.
Okay, sorry, y'all. Let me fix this then. Okay?
We don't like dead airspace. So.
Okay, let me fix it. Okay, so
right,
here's what I think about it. You ready? I'm going to fill the space with information.
Okay, too late. That doesn't work either. All right, infinite self. Here it is. Hold on, I can't see with these glasses. When I close my eyes and locate the still, quiet part of me, I enter a portal of infinite possibilities. All things, all potentials, all creativity exists in this inner space. You need more?
I just need you to read that again for me, please.
All right. I close my eyes
Hmm.
and locate the still, quiet part of me. I enter a portal of infinite possibilities. All things, all potentials, all creativity exist in this inner space.
Hmm.
Allowing myself to linger in this space without sliding into old thoughts about why I am, or whether I am worthy, brings great relief, healing, and even feelings of bliss. I can let go for a moment and surrender, sensing that nothing and everything exists simultaneously.
Hmm. Yeah. That was just, I love that. I think that, like, that's what happens when we go into meditation. I really think that's the essence of it, right? There's something about touching that still point where there is this the language she used, which is very connected to the language like that's used in Zen, is but also quantum physics, like this sort of void, this emptiness. And it's that emptiness, that still point, that no thingness out of which all things emerge. And yeah, it's just I don't know, even listening to it a second time and really like dropping into my heart, I just felt the peace of that experience of the infinite self. Hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. What about you? What came up for you?
Yeah, I think it definitely has a feeling tone to it. And what it brings up for me really is is there truly any nothingness? That's just what it brings up. Like when we sit in the stillness and we, whatever, however you want to define it, surrender to, the quiet, or, allow the space for spirit to come through us, or it doesn't matter what happens there. We call it the stillness. And is it really still? Like, is there really nothingness? Or
Hmm.
is it just a different vibration at which we're existing with something else is going on?
Hmm. Well, according to physicists and quantum physicists, there is I mean, they try to define it in different ways. Some call it antimatter, dark matter, but just this nothingness. And I think even, civilizations like the Egyptians tried to capture that with, like, for instance, their goddess Nut, who is just like the infinite blackness, the infinite black womb out of which all things emerge, right? And Zen tries to talks about it as like this nothingness out of which everything flows. But to me, it's sort of like, because everything on planet Earth kind of has this dualism to it, right? And like the beauty of New Thought is it's like we bring that dualism into unity. And so we don't bring it, we allow it to be in unity. And so that they're not at odds, they're in complement, right? And
Mhm.
so even when we're like consciously working to manifest something, right? It's it's But, again, back to that dualism, right? The conscious mind and the subconscious mind, right? And the subconscious mind I think of as that sort of void out of which everything comes into conscious manifestation or reality. Yeah. Yeah, I just think like this notion of like the void or the nothingness and the somethingness, like they come together. I think that's also representative in the yin yang, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I hear you, and I get that, and I still say, even in the nothingness, is it dead? Is there not an energetic vibration? Is there not? I mean, on some level, I would think there has to be something in order for us to be attracted to going there. And in theory, when we get there, even like in meditation and things like that, there's still a vibration to it. So something's happening, whether we're conscious of it or not. So I don't know. That is a whole different thing, but that's just what came up for me around the infinite self. And also, like, it speaks to, for me, as I say just that word again, words that, what happens when we leave this body. And in theory, if we're still here on some level, are we existing in the nothingness, or are we existing in the somethingness? So we don't have to go there, because this is clearly, you know what I mean? It's a whole different thing, but that's just what came up. So those are the questions that it makes me ponder.
I know, like, later we're going to be talking about the difference between ego knowing and soul knowing. Like, the ego, what we know about the nature of the human ego is that its greatest fear is annihilation. Its greatest fear is nothingness. And part of the journey is learning how to sit with nothingness. Because, like, okay, so what if there is nothing after this life? I'm just saying, what if there isn't? What if we do just go into this nothingness? Like, why? Because, like, humans, I feel like we're always trying to not be or not have a something. It's like we need a something to be okay, right? Which is very ego-based. We need a something. And I feel like part of spirit, like evolving consciously, especially for our species, is like making peace with uncertainty and even turning uncertainty into its own beautiful mystery. Like, so what if there is nothing? Why do I need there to be a something, right? I just find that really interesting. And it's literally like a conversation I had yesterday. The universe is funny. Anyways.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good topic. It's an interesting topic. And I think when we start getting into the ego and all of those things, there's so many variables and things, I don't know, that we're a species that wants to know.
And we want there to be things, right? We exist in these material bodies. We live these material lives. Like, when I say material, I mean, like, we're made of stuff, and we live these material lives in these material conditions. And so sitting with the possibility of like nothingness, which, it's interesting because as a clinician who's worked with a lot of people that's been diagnosed with depression, often when they start to recover is when they stop being afraid of the void that they feel inside of them, that emptiness, we actually go and we sit at that emptiness together, right? And like learn to tolerate it again, because the ego doesn't want that. The ego wants, no matter what, to exist. And so it's why until we become conscious of the subconscious, and like we don't actually end up using our minds. It's like our minds are using us. And the ego, because it is really, really concerned with survival, will create something, a problem for us to solve. And often, like when we're not working with the mind and we're afraid of the void, it will turn us and our lives into a problem. It will give us problems. Again, my plug for algebra, because if you give that ego something to solve, it's much softer to work with.
That's a whole, I mean, we could do a month on the ego. You know, yeah. So I'm going to let this alone for now, because it's a big topic, and I think,
well, it's coming up in our topic for today. You remember what you wrote?
Nope. And we'll get to that after the commercials. So we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back here in just a few minutes on New Thought Media Network.
Please help us say thank you to all of our organizational sponsors, including the Hefferland Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Center for Spiritual Living United Life, Sunshine Cathedral, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Universal Joy Center, Unity Kitchener, Unity Spiritual Center Ottawa, Home Center for Spiritual Living, Satya Center, Begin Within Ministries, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and the Center for Spiritual Living Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. On behalf of New Thought Media Network, thank you, and please like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network, come be you. Come expand your spiritual journey. Join us for Just the Talk, Sundays, 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. Mountain Time. Experience Unity Kitchener and Ottawa. Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Unity of Garden Park, New Thought Philadelphia, the Sunshine Cathedral, Unity of Savannah, and the Om Center for Spiritual Living. Come unleash your spiritual potential with New Thought Media Network.
Welcome to Girls Behaving Metaphysically. Your hosts are two girls who believe that life is awesome, that laughter heals, and that it's possible to find deep spiritual insights in everyday experience.
Here come the girls. It's more than practical. Here come the girls. Way more than merely factual. If you want to know the secrets of a life that's free, listen to Girls Behaving Metaphysically. Listen to Girls Behaving Metaphysically.
Hello and welcome back to New Thought Media Network's show, Girls Behaving Metaphysically. I thought I could get it all out in one breath, but I didn't take a breath before I talked. Anyway, I'm Robin Rice Olmsted.
I'm Dr. Natasha Wilson. And like Robin said, we're girls behaving metaphysically.
That's what we are.
Yeah.
So today we're exploring the topic of who knows. And this actually came about because I didn't know the topic. So who knows? What does that mean? I think it'll let us explore exactly what we've been talking about. Maybe it's intuition or, inner knowing or spiritual uncertainty or whatever it is. It is definitely the dance between the ego knowing and the soul knowing. And so we're going to talk about that. And let's have a good time.
Well, one of the things you said in the write-up, which is why I was like, oh, this flows so perfectly from, the card and what we were speaking about, is because one of the things that you sort of wrote in the description was sort of like, how do you know when it's ego knowing versus soul knowing, right? Like, what is soul knowing and what is ego knowing?
And I just want to say for the record, because soul knowing and ego knowing, and it feels like to me, anytime anybody hears the word ego, it automatically becomes negative on some level from what we've learned and what we did. Like, oh, that's all about your ego, and it's not. Your ego gets a bad rap, I think. So I just want you to be able to hear it from a different lens, because soul knowing and ego knowing, I don't know, maybe we're going to discover that one is better than the other, but what I know is that neither are bad.
Right. And I think one of the things that, I think like as a therapist, but then also just like as someone who is doing my best based on the 4 agreements to walk my spiritual path consciously now, because we're all walking a spiritual path, is that the more things that I once saw as like existing as like one at the North Pole, one at the South Pole, at the poles, the more they integrate. And so, the ego does get a bad rap. And the thing is, it shouldn't, because the ego is the part of the mind, the brain generated part of the mind that helped us survive, like literally as a species, right? Like many of the tools that we developed as a species that were connected to survival, not getting eaten on the plains of Africa by a lion, as we evolved, all of that was driven by the egoic mind. So when we talk about ego knowing versus soul knowing, to me, what that means is like, how do I know when I am moving from the impulse for survival, right? And for me, that's it, because that's all the ego is. The ego wants to survive. The ego, it doesn't want to be annihilated. It doesn't want to not exist. That's its job to do, is to help you survive. So
Right.
How do I know when I'm living from survival, or right? And some say that the ego is mostly generated from the oldest part of the brain, which is called the lizard brain, fight, flight, freeze, fawn, right?
Right.
And then we developed this part of the brain. This part of the brain developed last in Homo sapiens, but this is the higher order thinking. This is executive functioning. This is, all that stuff. And Lord, let's not talk about the pineal gland and all this other stuff. But it's like, when I'm operating from soul knowing, the reason I know is because I stopped struggling. And not that struggling is bad, but struggling lets me know that, especially as an adult, struggling lets me know that I'm probably operating from my survival brain. And that's not a bad thing. It's just like, is that necessary right now? You know, like that's what.
Well, it's a good warning. I mean, it's a good warning sign. It's good to be aware of that. And it may be different for people out there listening. It may be a different thing that triggers that knowing. But if you stop and look at it, like if you take a look at it this week and just be with it, when the feelings come up, take a minute and just try to feel where they're coming from. Because I mean, I think that sort of speaks to the difference between thinking we know and feeling we know. You know what I mean? I think that, well, I think sometimes, you know, I think I know something, but it's different for me when there's a feeling attached to it. You know, I think more about those moments of like intuition. I think about the moments where, you know, it maybe isn't so cut and dry, but I get a feeling like, yeah, no, don't do that right now, or don't make that call, or make that call. Actually, I had a feeling this morning. So here's the difference. So my phone rang, and I was pulling out of a parking lot, and I went through the thing of, oh, I should really answer. No, I shouldn't, because I should take this time and be clear. I'm driving and all of those things. But in my heart, there was something that said I needed to answer that call. And that was a feeling that I knew, right? As opposed to doing the right thing in that moment, which I identified as not answering the call, driving and getting to the place I wanted to be when I made a call. Fast forward to, I called the person back relatively quickly because I had that feeling that I should, even though there was no logical reason, because I thought what they were going to talk to me about was a meeting coming up on Saturday, and it wasn't. They were calling to tell me that their dog had died this morning. And it was a horrific thing. It wasn't a supposed to be or getting old thing. It was an attack type thing. And so, but I knew there was something else in that moment. So like, how do we know? What's the difference when we know and when we feel? Because sometimes we go against what we feel.
Yeah. So, you know, as you were, I'm so sorry, I got distracted for a second, so I just want to be honest about that.
Okay, so
I missed part of what the last part. All I know is that a dog died, and it was horrific. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. I'm not going back though.
Okay.
So
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Okay. All right. So, all right. So going back to the topic, that was a comment on the difference between knowing and feeling, when you know and when you feel, and how intuition speaks to us. Like through knowing, or how fear speaks to us.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know how I sort of can feel the difference, because I've been with, like, you know, here's the thing. When we experience trauma early in life, and I remember this really beautiful soul that I interviewed for my doctoral dissertation. And then I subsequently had this conversation with a professor at the Harvard School of Divinity when I was doing my doctoral research. But we were having this conversation, like the three of us, about what happens when a child is abused early in life. Right? When they sustain a traumatic experience early on, an emotionally traumatic experience early in life, what happens is their God, and I'm just going to use the words of this lovely man who is in the realm of the ancestors now, our God-given right to intuition gets severed. And then I remember saying to him, actually, what I think happens is that our intuition gets rerouted for the purposes of just survival. And so instead of our intuition being used to give us this extra layer of information about what's beautiful and what's good in the world, it turns instead into this hypervigilance, right? To try to keep us safe, right? And so people start to mistake, well, not mistake, but intuition gets turned into, it just starts to serve the purpose of the trauma for survival, right? And that's when intuition is hijacked by ego, remembering that ego is about survival, and that's not a bad thing. But as we do our work, right, and we are recovering or trying to recover from the traumatic experience, one thing that tends to also come back online is a stronger sense of our intuition. And I know when, for me, like I am having an intuitive experience of knowing, is because for me, it's also, it has a very embodied component that goes with it. That's how it first started coming back online for me as I continue to do the work to heal from the traumas that happened in my life when I was, when I didn't have power, when I was a little girl. And so for me, often when my intuition shows up, I literally get like chills on my skin, like these little things pop up on my skin. But before, when my intuition was being used in the service to survive and keep me alive, it would always be in my stomach. I get a pit in my stomach. And now that I've been, freeing up that energy, for me, so it's now like it's on my skin, and there's a softening, like literally like in my chest. And I'm like, oh, this is the intuition. This is the intuition. And again, it moves me out of that sort of dualism as well, because it's like, it also helps me remember that the body itself is so holy, right? Which is important, especially for someone like me, who was raised in the family that I was raised in, the Catholic part of my family story. The body was seen as this thing you overcome, as opposed to the body itself being like this holy thing. And so, yeah, I get it. I get embodied knowing when my intuition is on. And it feels really good, actually.
Yeah, and I think that that's a really great thing, especially for listeners to think about. Is like, when you are unsure about something, how do you explore it, and what does your intuition say, and what does your fear say, and what does your body say, and what does your spiritual practice say, and then it's being able to put those all together, and discern where you're living from. Because the reality of it is, the ego knows and is always going to know. It's always going to know. It's always going to have an answer, or think it does. And so we have to discern on some level, and whether you do it, in steps individually, or whether you're advanced enough to be able to just sit in the stillness and go to the right answer, or the answer you're wanting to live from, but just kind of break down. Is it the ego? Is it the soul? Is it the collective knowing? Because there's the collective knowing. There's that we've been taught. There's that we've probably lived for generations. There's that's been handed down to us from our family and our parents and all of those ancestors.
Mm-hmm.
So the question of who really knows, or who knows, is interesting, because, is there one answer? I don't know. There's a lot of components.
Yeah. And I never think of anything as sort of like so there are a couple things in this world that I admit that I can't carry into a gray space, right? There's some things to me it's just like black and white. And I don't know if that's right or wrong, and I don't care. It's just something that I accept about me. Like there's no way, and I know I'm about to touch on something that, I know in my family, we don't but there's my family of origin, not the family I'm raising. And the family I'm raising. Did I tell you my daughter got her first period this past weekend? I didn't tell you. Oh my God, we had such a celebration. It's such a celebration. Oh my God, such a celebration. Anyways, but what was I saying? Yes. No.
It's gone. You were about to go somewhere that we probably shouldn't go with the next 8 minutes or so that we have.
No, I really feel like I was supposed to do that though, because
I know, but I'm just telling you.
No, I know. I got it now. Okay,
Yeah,
thank
go
you.
ahead.
I knew it to come back, right? Okay, so you were saying like, how do you know, like, what does your body say? What does your heart say? What does your spiritual practice say? And what I was saying was, to me, it's never like one thing. There are only a few things in life that I feel are just, to me, like very black and white. And I know that it challenges my spirituality, particularly as when I say a practitioner, I mean as someone who practiced the principles of New Thought.
Right.
And the only thing that I feel that way about is child abuse, right? To me, no, wrong. That's just how I feel. And I haven't been able to come to this sort of integrative experience. And with everything else, however, like it's never just one thing. So my intuition, yeah, I feel it on my skin, but I also feel a softening. Like when I say like in my chest, like not just my physical chest, it's like and not just my heart, right? It's like my heart that exists in the realm of spirit. I also know because I'm not swimming upstream. I'm not struggling, right? That's what but it doesn't, it's not usually just coming in one way, the knowing, I guess is what I'm saying.
Right. And I don't think I said that it needs to. I mean, there's
No, you didn't.
Okay. Yeah, because I think the flip side to this also is what scares us or makes us uncomfortable about admitting when we don't know. Why do we think we have to know?
Well, there's that. And that's the other thing. When we started and we were talking about like, the ego's job is to survive and always want there to be something. And, I asked the same question, like, what if there is nothing? Why must there be a thing? It's to me, it's very connected to like, okay, why do I need to know? Like, it's very simple. To me, it's connected in that way.
It is connected, but I think there is so many things connected to knowing, and whether it's what we don't know, what scares us about not knowing, what scares us about knowing, what we expect others to know about us and what we think we know about them. I mean, there's all of those things, I think play into the knowingness pool, which is why we're not always willing to just stand in what we know because we're afraid we'll be wrong or we're afraid we'll hurt someone's feelings or.
Well, that's the other thing. I think when we stop struggling and we stop pedaling upstream, like we come to understand that there's so many things that are outside of our control, including what other people think or what they feel or if their feelings get hurt. And I think moving from codependency into forms of relational interdependency requires that we let people have their emotional experience, no matter what it is. If we've hurt their feelings, okay, it just reflects the fact that they're human and they can let us know and we can work through it and we can repair, right? So, yeah, to me, that all is a part of like, I don't like swimming upstream anymore. I don't want to be guessing or worrying. Like, what am I afraid of if I hurt someone's feelings? What's the fear there? That they're going to abandon me? That they're going to stop talking to me? What's the fear, right? I feel like that's the thing. I love how Thich Nhat Hanh used to talk about fear. You know, he used to just, no, it wasn't Thich Nhat Hanh. It's Tara Brach who talks about like fear as the dragon. And when we put our head, like being able to put our head in the mouth of the dragon, and the dragon represents fear, usually what we discover is something that's not even true.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's I think that's a great point and a great point to end on, because I think that, you know, yes, in your wisdom, you know, it's easy to say in our wisdom, well, yeah, I just don't want to struggle anymore and things like that. But it's really about how does one get to that point? Because if I'm out there in it, that's a whole nother show. Are you in it? But if I'm in it, then I can't always see my way around it, because what feels important might be somebody's opinion of me or somebody loving me or any of those things. And I think, you know, like it's how do we get to that place of letting, I don't know, be okay on some ways. And I think, you know, there's like you've spoken about, you know, the body and tuning into the body. We've spoken about tuning into our intuition on some level and checking that. And like even a practice of just stopping, you know, a few times a day, 3 times a day, take a slow breath while saying, I don't know, and I don't need to know right now. You know, I don't know, and I don't need to know right now. And let it interrupt the ego's urgency or whatever it is. You know, open your intuition or just create that space for clarity or for that moment for your body to relax and give it permission to not know.
Like there's something deeply healing about not knowing, because I think it returns us to the mystery, like mystery as in like mystic. And you know, and I think this is the, you know, been the problem with like mainstream religion. Like it's taken mystery to the need for certainty, right? It's like, and spirituality is in part about melting into the mystery. And that's going to mean that there'll be times when we don't know a lot. And even some of the things we think we know, like we see a tree, we call it a tree, and we think we know something about that being,
right?
Illustrious being that is just doing so much, that is communicating with other trees around. Like there's just like it is so beautiful to step into sometimes the not knowing.
It is. And unfortunately, that's not where I am right now, because what I'm knowing is we only have another minute or 2 left.
It's okay to know that.
I didn't say I didn't. I was upset by it. I'm just telling you. So I just want to encourage everyone to take that, take the card we pulled this week into your heart, the infinite self. And, you know, as Dr. Natasha spoke to the mystery, you know, take a mystery minute, you know, just once a day, take a mystery minute to be intentional in your not knowing. No answers, no conclusions, nothing, just presence, just be present. And allow that to let your nervous system begin to tolerate uncertainty.
Mm-hmm.
And to just let it lead you into intuition and lead you into a greater knowingness of the mystical nothingness from which we come.
I got a mystery before we leave that I'm just going to leave. You remember I told you over Easter, my daughter and I got our nails done, and she introduced me to the little charms that go on nails. So I got some, and I had the little, like I literally had the word lucky in gold on my fingers. And then after someone told me that I was not naively optimistic, oh no, ruthlessly optimistic, right? I was like, I got the charm put on my middle finger. And then, so when I went to get my nails done, I didn't want charms anymore because they get caught on everything. So I got my middle finger painted in gold because I am fearlessly optimistic. God damn it.
And so it is. So just embody that fearlessness and just know that we are supporting you and we are loving you and we are knowing for you. Who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows?
But what we know is that we plan to be back here next week, and we hope you join us.
But who knows? So tune in and see.
Let's see.
All right. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next week. Peace and blessings.
Come expand your spiritual journey. Join us for Just the Talk. Sundays, 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. Mountain Time. Experience Unity Kitchener and Ottawa. Center for Spiritual Living Midtown. Center for Spiritual Living Denver. Unity of Garden Park. New Thought Philadelphia. The Sunshine Cathedral. Unity of Savannah. And the Om Center for Spiritual Living. Come unleash your spiritual potential with New Thought Media Network.